Today I'm going to tell you about the history of the Emirate of Sicily and how this affects the Sicily of today. Ja'far ibn Muhammad was assassinated even as Syracuse fell in 878 to the Muslims. Internal squabbles continued to slow progress. The Byzantines retained only a small hold on the northeast of Sicily, while the Aghlabids controlled the vast majority of Sicily. Stalemate. A Byzantine counter-offensive began in 880. Admiral Nasser made an audacious raid on Palermo and also defeated an Aghlabid fleet at the Battle of Stellai. Although Abu Thawr's Muslims kept up the pressure on the eastern coast, he could not break through. Sicilian Muslims, previously happy with the ongoing trade, now rose up as the war against the Byzantines ground to a halt. The population of Palermo ejected their ruler, and this triggered a further campaign near Milazzo in 888. A brief truce and further squabbling slowed the Muslim forces, and some even switched sides to the Byzantines in Taormina. To learn more about La Bella Sicilia, consider subscribing. A concerted Byzantine campaign was repelled by Abu Iyabas, who attacked Taormina, Catania and Valdemone, which is northeast Sicily. Returning from an attack on the Italian mainland, Abu Iyabas defeated and took over a Byzantine fleet which had recently arrived from Constantinople. In 902, a renewed attack on Taormina broke the truce and routed the Byzantine garrison, finally taking the city. Byzantine Sicily was almost lost, and Sicily was now effectively a Muslim island. Sicily was now part of the Fatimid Caliphate, made up of Shiite Fatimids from Egypt, from around 909. The Fatimids would continue the campaign of mopping up the final Byzantine outposts in northeast Sicily. While Taormina rose up again against Muslim control between 902 and 962, this only led to a 30-week siege. Rometa near Messina would collapse around 965 despite desperate Byzantine efforts, and included the Battle of the Straits by Messina. Sicily was now a base for raids on Otto II, the Holy Roman Emperor, on the Italian mainland. The Byzantine general George Maniakes began a Sicilian campaign in 1038, and capitalizing on internal squabbles between the Fatimid groups, Maniakes captured the eastern coast of Sicily. Repeating earlier Byzantine mistakes, he was recalled to Constantinople by jealous rivals. Messina, the final Byzantine outpost, fell in 1042. The emir ruled the army, appointed governors, appointed judges, and managed the treasury from the building now known as Palazzo Normanni. It is believed that Palermo began to produce fine material used for clothing. The Fatimids also introduced their own currency. Sicily became Islamic, but to different degrees. Western Sicily was very influenced by Islam, with a significant Arabic population, whereas areas to the east of Sicily were less influenced. The new rulers implemented land reforms, which increased agricultural production and also benefited smaller landholdings. This reversed the earlier questionable Roman legacy of building up large agricultural estates owned by a small group of loyal families. The Arabs improved irrigation and introduced the production of oranges, lemons and pistachios. A merchant of the time described Palermo in 950 as a walled suburb with a great mosque, a sultan's palace, baths, offices and a prison. Different religions were tolerated, but non-Muslims were subject to a poll tax and a land tax, albeit Muslims were taxed slightly differently. Christians and Jews could avoid paying the poll tax by converting to Islam, and for a range of reasons a large number of the population did this. By the 10th century, Fatimids began to oppress the Christians and force them to convert to Islam. Northeastern Sicily remained stubbornly Greek-speaking and Christian and resisted conversion. The local population were Greek-speaking, Byzantine Christians and some Jews. In the 11th century, nobles in southern Italy hired Norman mercenaries led by Roger de Hauteville, later known as Roger I of Sicily, to invade the Emirate of Sicily. In 1038, George Maniakes led both a Byzantine and Norman campaign into Sicily. Having taken Syracuse, he lost his position of leadership. A Muslim counter-offensive reconquered all the cities previously captured by the Byzantines. By 1050, Palermo was one of the largest, most spectacular cities in Europe. While the local population was largely Christian, the Orthodox and Catholic populations began to separate in 1054. Robert Guiscard attacked Sicily again in 1060. The Emirate of Sicily finally began to fall apart due to internal disputes, and the island was divided first into 4 regions. The rulers of these 4 regions began to jockey for control of the entire island. Ibn Thumna allied with the Normans to rule the island, resulting in a sizable contingent of Muslim troops in the Hauteville Norman army. An army sailed from North Africa to recover control of the 4 regions of Sicily. This army disastrously lost 2 key battles to the Normans. The first in 1063, when a mix of Sicilians and Africans lost to a Norman force at the Battle of Cerami, underlining the Norman control of the northeast of Sicily. This victory by the Normans triggered a wider Sicilian Christian uprising against the Muslim rulers of Sicily. In 1068, Roger gained a vital victory at the Battle of Misilmeri, causing the North African army to flee the island of Sicily. Catania fell to the Normans in 1071, as did Palermo in Trapani in 1072. Losing 3 such port cities was devastating for the Muslim rule. The Muslim stronghold of Syracuse, governed by Ibn Abbad, who launched an extensive counterattack in 1075. Syracuse eventually did fall after a siege of the city in 1086, during which Ibn Abbad died. Casa Ianni, known later as Castrogiovanni and Enna, surrendered and converted to Christianity in 1087. The former ruler of Casa Ianni, Hammud, retired to Calabria with his family under the protection of Roger I. The last stand was in Butera and Noto, which finally fell in 1091. The new Norman rulers, interestingly, respected the existing customs of the Sicilian Arabs. Arab, Byzantine, Norman culture would leave its mark on Sicilian culture. The tuna industry was introduced by the Arabs, and a technique, matanza, is now largely banned. Mineral extraction and salt production were begun in the areas of Trapani and survive until today. Sicily was populated with Arabic culture and Arabic literature, and there is a very specific Sicilian concept of hospitality, although of course there was resistance as well. The poor would call their Arab masters shekko, which in Sicilian is donkey, as a play on the word chic. The pastry cannolo is Arabic, so is lemon sorbet. Couscous with pesce, couscous with fish, is an Arabic dish found in the western Sicilian area of Trapani. Pasta con le sarde, pasta with sardines, is likewise of Arabic origin. Arabic had a major influence on Sicilian language. Arabic words became mainstream. Look for the words beginning with the letter C, as previously they replaced the letter Q. Many towns were subsequently renamed after the Arabic era, such as Caltanissetta and Calatafimi. The name Caltagirone has evolved from the Arabic words for castle of pottery jars. The following buildings include a mixture of Byzantine, Arab and Norman architecture. They are World Heritage Sites. Alcázar, the royal palace, is now known as Palazzo dei Normanni. It was the seat of the Emir, the ruler of Sicily, and is the oldest royal residence in Europe. Ziza Palace was designed by an Arab craftsman for a Norman ruler. It is Moorish architecture whose name derives from the Arabic word splendid. La Cuba is similar to Ziza and is a mix of Arabic and Norman architecture. Palermo Cathedral, which was founded by Pope Gregory I, began as a Byzantine building, was converted to an Arabic mosque, and then a Norman cathedral. The cathedrals at Monreale and Cefalù are both examples of Byzantine, Arab and Norman architecture. The Church of San Cataldo is an Arab-Norman architecture building built during the Norman occupation of Sicily.